of the Most Holy Family, many thoughts, things go through our own minds because each of us come from a family. They could be good thoughts, they could be negative thoughts. We don't know too much about the Holy Family. What we know is that they were God-centered. And we also know they were very special people. How many times did an angel come to Joseph? Once, to tell him to take Mary as his husband, as her wife. Another time, he came to tell Joseph, get out of town because they're after your son, and go to Egypt. And after they had been in Egypt for a while, the angel came again and spoke to Joseph when he could return to the homeland. Very special people. And this feast should give us all a time to really reflect upon what our priorities are as individuals and as a family. The reason that Joseph had to take his wife Mary and Jesus and flee the country was because there was a man by the name of Herod. A man who was king. And he had heard about this child being born. And he didn't want competition. So what did he do? He sent his soldiers out to slaughter any child 2 years of age or younger. And normally on this date, December 28th, we celebrate the Feast of Holy Innocents. But that hasn't stopped, has it? The slaughter of children. That hasn't stopped. A little over 2 years ago, we heard about what happened in Newtown, Conventual, to those children. Children who went off to school happy and joyful in the morning and never returned to their family. Less than 2 weeks ago, we heard about similar children went off to school in Pakistan, and over 140 of them never returned to their families because they were butchered. You know, we hear so much about the right to life, and we all think it's about the unborn. Well, I want to disappoint you. It's not just about the unborn. It's about every single one of us. That every single one of us have the right to life. And there's no exceptions to that. Because we are God's children. Every one of us. No matter where we came from. You have the right to life. And only a week or so ago, Pope Francis came out against the death penalty, which I totally agree with him. It's difficult for some of us to understand that view. But stop and think. Each of you are special in the eyes of God. This is the God who walks with you day in and day out. This is the God who's with you during those difficult times. And during the joyful times. I speak to you honestly because I know in my own life how this God has been in my life. Whether I had open heart surgery, whether I lost my kidneys, whether I had cancer, it didn't make any difference. God was with me. I know that. And because of that, I can stand here before you today as a healthy individual because I trusted in God. I trusted in my Father. And this is what you and I have to do. We have to trust in this God. We see too much in this world that is negative. Too much. We go forth and we elect people. Why? Why do you elect someone? Because you want that individual to speak for you, for that community in which you're from. Isn't that right? How often do we hear people speaking about the living, the children in our schools, to make them safer, to have our neighborhoods safer? Do you see work being done for that? We elect people to do that, regardless of party. But people drag their feet. So the ball winds up in our own court, and we have to do something about it. We have to make that neighborhood, that family, better than where they are now. Safer. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph lived a quiet life. And yet their life was filled because it was God-centered. My brothers and sisters, as we come to an end of this year, we each have to look in our own lives and honestly ask ourselves, what is my priority? Where do I stand? In addition to that, if we're parents, we have to ask ourselves the same thing. But that's not our parents alone, or just not the parents alone, but the whole family should sit down and say, wait a minute, what should be our priorities as a family? A Christian family, a God-centered family. What should they be? And when a family does this together, and they make these decisions, this is what our priorities should be. These are the things we should be doing. How we treat our brothers and sisters. How we express love and gratitude and forgiveness and mercy. That's what we should be doing. And when we do it as a group, we would take responsibility for our actions. That we can go forth. And when people see this, whether it's neighbors or other people in school, etc., wherever it might be, that flows out of us into the lives of others. It makes us God-centered, as Jesus, Mary, and Joseph were. So if we're going to make up all sorts of resolutions, let's just try for one. Not 15, one. That we can make our family, our sons, our daughters, our spouses, our parents, our grandparents, all Christ-centered or God-centered in their daily lives. Is it possible? Yes, it's possible. Because we have God who is with us in good times and bad times. We have God to lift us up. Can that be your resolution this new year coming? To be more God-centered as a family and as individuals.